Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the podcast, Smooches Podcast. I'm your host, Intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you guys' week went well. Mine's went well. I hope your upcoming week goes well. And hello to all of those who might have just stumbled across the podcast for the very first time. Hello to all of those who continue to come back. Hello. Let's get a little bit of the housekeeping out of the way, starting the podcast. If you continue to come back and listen, go ahead and give a rating, comment, and also follow the podcast so that you never miss an upload. I almost forgot. And thank you so much. Again, it doesn't cost you anything to rate the podcast. That really helps the podcast out. It helps to get it to people all over. And yeah, so we can start doing different things for the podcast. All right. So thank you so much. Let's get into things. So this week I am definitely feeling very empowered. Okay. And that's really what the podcast is going to be about, is empowerment. Y'all. I think I'm coming into myself because it just came over me. This is what I wanted the podcast to be about, empowerment. So if you are on a self-discovery journey or empowerment journey, this is definitely the podcast episode for you. So let's get into some Smooches news, some Smooches updates. All right. So I came across this news article, I guess it was on my Google feed, and it was talking about Barack Obama and how his daughter, I think it's Malia, she had worked on a movie and how she dropped her last name. So she was going by her first name and middle name because she kind of wanted to do this on her own without bringing, I'm assuming, her family name into her success, which makes a lot of sense because here's the deal. I feel that a lot of the times you can be recognized or people can give you the benefit of the doubt if your parents are successful enough, and they forget about really who you are and what you're trying to do for yourself and your creativity. So I definitely understand that. And I think he gets it as well because he feels as though more power to her, that she's becoming her own person. He says that his daughters are stubborn too. So that was funny because I feel like when you have kids, you really just want the best for them and you don't want them to make possibly the same mistakes, or you just want better for them, really, than what you had. And I think that's all that's really coming across with Barack Obama, is that he just really wants the best for his girls. And that's it. You just want the best for them. And if they can use your name to get some notoriety or get some fame, I guess he feels like it's nothing wrong with that. But she really wants to make a name for herself, and that's amazing because I feel that when you were born, I feel like you should be your own individual person. I think this is too why I am so against, I feel like kids having their parents not last name, but first name, and especially the boys becoming juniors or the thirds, the seconds, and all that. I understand they're trying to keep a legacy going, but sometimes I feel that the kids have to be their own person, if that makes any sense. So that's my thoughts on it. So I really love the idea of her wanting to step out on her own and really wanting to just make a name for herself, and good for her. All right, moving on to the next story. So, Cam Newton and his current girlfriend are making news waves again. I think her name is Jasmine or Jazz. I think that's her name. Don't quote me on that. I think that's her name. But what I seen really quickly, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but basically he stated that and admitted that she was not the only one while he was dating her. You know, sometimes I feel like, and I know that some people feel like it is best to be honest and be a straight shooter and tell the truth and all that. But here's the thing, when you are committed to someone, unless you guys have an arrangement. Now, I don't know if they have an arrangement together where they possibly are seeing other people. They were, or maybe they were seeing other people at the time. But to me, it just feels wrong. It feels absolutely wrong. Only because I feel like when you are in a relationship with someone, it's supposed to be you and that person, again, unless you have an arrangement. And I don't know, again, what their arrangement was. But to say this on your show, I don't know, it's just amazing. Like, I think it's just almost like a slap in the face. Right? Okay, I'm done with that. Okay, moving on to some more news, celebrity news. Tia Mowry. So, people are really on her neck, right? With this show, they are really on her neck. Like, if there's one thing the people are going to do, they're going to hold her accountable. They're going to make sure she remembers what she said, when she said it, how she said it about her marriage, and how she is moving on, and how she graduated from the marriage, and all of this. Like, people are really holding her accountable. I feel like at this point, I feel like if she even states that she wishes her marriage, or that she was still in her marriage, people are going to like throw it in her face and say, remember you said this? What happened to the strong woman? And you're not going back to something that doesn't serve you. I mean, people are really holding her accountable. My thing is this, and this is what I love about some people, and some celebrities do this, but when it comes to, I feel like, your marriage or your relationship, sometimes it is so important to keep certain things out of public eye until you can't do it anymore. And then once you're still in the public eye, I wouldn't speak on anything. Because here's the thing, we feel like as women, because most of the time it's us who want to speak our truths. And that's where I kind of feel like it goes left for us. And this is about empowerment, this episode, right? But I feel like this is when it goes left for us, because it seems like we are crucified almost for just speaking our truth. And you have to be perfect. And it's like, if you are not standing on business, people will let you know. And it's almost like you can't be powerful with your words. But if you do, you have to keep in mind you have other people watching you and that will call you on your stuff. And that is a tall glass to drink. Big shoes to fill. Because you can't say something and say, oops, I changed my mind. I feel like as a woman, you cannot. I feel like people will burn you at the cross because we just can't. We have to be so honest all the time. And if we are saying these things, we got to stand on it. Men stand on it and then they don't. Like, I guess I feel like it's more lenient given to men when they don't live up to whatever. But for women, especially women, we got to do better against when we are being for each other and really not trying to be against each other, because here's the thing, we are part of the problem. We will be the first to shame that woman or really hold her accountable if no one else is doing it. And I feel like we have to do better with that, because I feel like if one of us win, we all win. And we have to do better with that. So that's all I wanted to talk to you about that. Moving on to other things. So I was on TikTok and I seen something about the Christian girl culture. So there are a lot of women going to Christianity and really uplifting their spirituality. They're really upholding their spirituality. And I love that for us. I love that for the girls. I absolutely do. It got me to thinking, because some of the girls that are in this spiritual journey makes me question what is actually really happening. What is really happening here? Do you believe that more women are turning to their faith and strengthening their faith in Christianity in order to find higher power and to find their faith? Or is this performative? Or is this a thing about your time is up, that you hit a certain age and now you feel like you need to do something else? Or, I'm just trying to figure out what this is, because it could be a combination of everything. It really could. It could be a combination of, I've been operating like this for so long, it's not serving me anymore. I'm turning, or I'm a particular age, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. And maybe I need to go on a spiritual journey, find myself, and do things differently. Or is it just performative, where you are just looking to possibly find a husband? You are trying to uplift your platform by influencing people? Or are you, sorry about that, or are you truly on your journey, your faith walk with the Lord or your higher power? I mean, so many of the girls that I am hearing that are transitioning into spirituality have been out here doing things, right? And it feels that maybe these things are not working out anymore. I really don't care how women come about coming into their faith, because when you absolutely know. And it's better that you connect and you try to get to your higher power and your spiritual journey than never. Because here's the thing. Once you are on this journey, it is one of those things where you'll discover so much. And I feel that a lot more people should be on this journey. I feel like for some it is performative. I really do. Because you get some that feel like they're the Lord themselves, they're God themselves, and they know everything. That becomes a little too much, because your walk with your spirituality, your spiritual journey, it's not someone else's. No, we are not going to be 100% all of the time. That's the thing. We're not. We're not perfect people, unfortunately. We are not perfect people, and you will make some mistakes. I think that giving advice giving advice about how to do things differently is great, but kind of being judgy towards someone in regards to their walk is just, I don't like it. I really don't like it. But I do like that the women are making conscious decisions to change their lives, because I'm a spiritual person. I absolutely am. I am definitely on my spiritual journey. I have been since 2020. And it had been something that I had just really been trying to pursue and just do. And I have just been on this journey for a while. But I'm not here to judge. I feel that whenever you find yourself, you find yourself. And for some, it could be an age thing. For some, it could be performative. And for some, it can truly be their testimony and their walk with God. It absolutely could. I mean, who are we to judge? We really don't know. But I feel as though we definitely should just support and go with these women on their journeys through their spiritual journey. So, I mean, that's it. That's really all that I have to say. I feel that everybody has a past. And whenever you find yourself or you choose to go on your spiritual journey, that is totally up to you. And I don't judge. So whatever it is whatever it is, you know. Just be truthful with yourself and what it is that you're doing, and don't lie to yourself. You definitely cannot lie to your higher power. So if you're being performative, or if you are just in it for the wrong reasons, the truth will be told. It will come out eventually. So that is that with that. And I am wrapping up talking about the Smooches update. Okay. So moving on to our topic that I wanted to discuss on the podcast this episode, and really is about empowerment. So I have always struggled, I feel that struggled with being empowered or taking a step back and not really being true to myself. So I had been in a place where I felt as though I would just accept things just because I wanted to be okay with people. I didn't want to ruffle anybody's feathers or make anyone unhappy. And that's where I have been for a long time. And truthfully, I think that it really began, and I felt it began once I lost my mother. I felt as though I did not have a place. And because I did not have the one person that I felt like showed me all of that, I really felt as though I had to accept what I was given, or I had to try really hard not to make anyone angry or upset, and just so I can keep them around, because I was in a place where I felt like I didn't have much. So it was important to keep those relationships, those bonds and things like that. And that's a lot of the times where I was, and I don't feel that I had or I felt empowered. I felt weak, kind of, you know? Um, I think that once I started to build up a little more of my power was when I turned 18. 18 was the driving force, I felt like, where I was, and I actually knew that I could move out on my own. I knew I could build a life for myself and I could live the way that I wanted to. And if I didn't, I didn't really have to hold on to someone's every move because no one had control over me anymore, right? And that's where I was, and I felt like I definitely had some power at that time, but I still was feeling kind of weak, right? I still was feeling kind of weak, and that I still had to have some people around me, especially family. Sorry, I had something in my eye, especially family. So when it came to that, I felt as though I really had to still not ruffle any feathers, kind of accept. And, I grew up around a lot of old school people where it was like, you don't talk back, you listen, you never have anything to say. And that was that. And I quickly had to come out of that. But along this journey, I had still been struggling with that. But it has come a time right now. And I'm telling you, sometimes you just hit that age range where you're like, you know what? Enough is enough. And that's where I felt like enough is enough. And that's where I am right now. I am in my empowerment stage. I can't even say journey because I've been in the journey for a while, but I had the epiphany and just said to myself, because I had been sitting with myself and my thoughts, and I said to Olivia, I said, wow. I said, you are really, really owning your stuff. You are owning your stuff. You are absolutely taking charge. And it feels really good because I used to allow a lot of things to happen to me, a lot of the ways people would treat me. You allow it. Now I will go into a place and I won't even care if I'm sitting alone by myself at this little whatever. I have peace with you speak when spoken to. I don't jump to do all of that socializing because I'm just not there anymore. I feel like I wanted to feel organic. And if I don't feel the organic energy, I am not going to jump forth with it. I'm not doing it anymore because I feel as though you have to keep your peace and you have to feel strong and good about yourself where you're at. But the only way to do that and that you don't question yourself and feel crummy afterwards is if you stay true to yourself. You got to feel that power, man. And I don't know if it's because a few things came up and I really started to say, this is how I feel. No, I will not. And when I do decide to speak or say whatever, it will be on my terms because I'm taking my power and I'm making a stance. I'm making a stance. That is it. Because so many times during my journey, I have been so concerned with not making people angry, staying a part of their lives, keeping that connection and things like that. But I never really sat back and took in my consideration of how I was feeling. So that's why I say I was feeling kind of weak at that time. But girl, it's in full blown mode right now. Okay? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, feeling empowered. empowered with having a voice for yourself, taking a stance for yourself, finding the strength within you to be able to not take anything, not be the leftover person, not be the person who's going to yes, ma'am, everything, or no, sir, everything, or yes, sir, everything. Don't be that person. Don't be that person, because it is such a miserable place to be. And you will shortchange yourself, and your quality of life will just not be the greatest, because you are really not living your authentic self. And here, that's exactly where I keep it. We are trying to discover our true authentic self through storytelling and laughter. So that's what I plan on doing every day. I live by those truths. I absolutely do. So what's really feeding into this too, like, I feel like our good sis Meg the Stallion, this girl has really found her power. I don't know if you guys had seen her on her Amazon, like little Amazon. Oh, it's not. What is it? It is, oh my gosh, Prime. You guys, listen, Amazon Prime, girl, it is all the same. Okay, so she has this documentary on Prime, and when I tell you, I got up Saturday and I could not sleep. Like, I was really wrestling with something in my mind. I was like, you know what? Just turn on the television till you get tired. So I turned on the television and I came across on Prime Meg the Stallion's little documentary. When I tell you I cried, I shed some tears with that woman, I absolutely did. Like, I felt her when she talked about her life and losing her mom and currently where she is right now. How amazing is it? She lost her dad to a heart attack. After him being released from jail, she had really had a relationship with him in jail. And then once he got out, not too long after that, he had a heart attack. And then as she's progressing and getting into her career, and her mom bond is close, her mom passes away. And when I tell you her journey has been a journey, it had been a journey. She stated that she used to get bullied in school. She said that through her having her anxiety with being around people after the incident that happened to her with her and Tory Lanez, she stated that she just felt depressed. She had lots of anxiety. She said she had to go so far as to check herself into like a wellness center. Let me tell you something. I feel like that sometimes is needed if you are definitely really struggling. So many times that I had said when I think I was struggling the most that I wish I could have gone to like a wellness or a retreat center. I wish I could have, because sometimes I feel like when you go through enough trauma, you absolutely have to heal. And sometimes those retreats, or just to be able to go away and mentally decompress, if that is a thing, it's needed. And so many times do I wish that I had the opportunity to actually do that. I wish I had the opportunity. I was so rooting for her because of that. Like, I did get therapy, right? I was in therapy. I did do that for myself, which I loved. But it took me I was at a breaking point before I even went to therapy. And I think that sometimes it comes down to that. And I felt her. She got to a breaking point where she had to cancel a date with her tour, and she had to go to a retreat. And I felt like I was at a breaking point in my time of life as well, where I just completely unraveled, and I needed to get therapy. And I was in intense therapy because I just needed it. And after that, I feel like I came out a new person. I went back to school. Like, everything just started to change for me. So I felt all of that with Meg, right? The good sis Meg. Yes, I felt all of that with her. And that she changed all that around. And right now she's thriving. She feels good. She feels healthy. I love it because it's nothing like finding your voice. Ooh. And you don't really recognize that you're without your voice until you sit back and you look at your situation. And this is some of the things that I feel like always have to happen. You have to take a step back to look at your full-blown situation, because so many times you go through life and things are just happening and you don't even realize you're operating like this. So I feel like sometimes, or I feel like not even sometimes, I feel like all the times you need to be taking a step back. Taking a step back just to look at your environment, to where you are, and how you're making it through. Because I feel like this is so important, because this is the only way you can check in with yourself. Check in with yourself and be able to identify with what is truly happening in your life, so that you can see if you are making the mistake of being maybe a doormat, not speaking up when you should, allowing things that you shouldn't. I feel that this is so much and definitely needed. And I feel like a lot of us need to do more of it. So I am definitely on an empowerment journey. And when I tell you I'm speaking my mind, I do speak my mind. Very often, very often, I am definitely not going to be out of control in my life. If I don't like it, if I don't feel it, I'm not doing it. I'm absolutely not doing it. And that's just where I am right now. It's just where I am. And I hope that you find yourself by doing some of the things maybe that you hear here that you feel like might work for you. Because I feel that you never really want to be in a place where you're just going through life and you're not checking in with yourself, and you might not be happy. It has to come to a time where you have to be honest with yourself. And that's where I am. Y'all, it feels so good. So join me on the empowerment journey, y'all. 1, we're going to check in with ourselves. 2, we're absolutely not going to be a doormat for people. 3, if we don't like it, we speak up about it. 4, we take some time to take a step back and work on our mental. 5, we celebrate us. We celebrate us. So that is Coco. We celebrate us. So I definitely hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. I'm here on video, so check me out. If you're listening to it, come and check it out on YouTube. And I will see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to rate the podcast. Please rate the podcast. It doesn't cost you anything. Comment and definitely turn on your notifications so you don't miss any uploads every week, weekly. Please follow me on all social media platforms, Smooches Podcast. Email me with your stories. Email me with suggestions. smoochespodcast@gmail.com. And I would like to thank our editor of the podcast. It would be Legend, Soundcloud. He's on Soundcloud. Legend is his name. And check him out. And I want to say thank you to all of those, again, who continue to come back and listen. And thank you to all of those who stumbled across the podcast for the very first time. I hope you continue to come back. I love you guys. You will love it here. Definitely a good place to be. And I will see you on the next episode. Smooches.